Hey class, welcome back. So before we do anything, I want to fix this little issue that we had in the homepage, which is this warning about the render method of the link. It's simple as these links right here with the images. They let's go to them. So if we go to index.tsx, we scroll down, it's these ones right here with the images. I forgot to add an anchor tag that wraps the image, because in every next link there has to be an anchor tag inside of it. So if we save and we reload, now we shouldn't get that warning. Cool. And I also noticed that here, so here where we're using the sub, we're giving it a type. This array itself should have the type, and it doesn't, and it has the type any. Let's fix that. So let's remove this typing here, and let's scroll back up. So here where we use the use SWR hook, we can just here give the type sub array like that. And actually let's do the same for posts. This is a post array. Make sure to import post, so we have both types, and now it shouldn't have a problem, and it will know that these are subs, and this of course in turn is a sub. Cool. So now what I want to do is I want to allow the user to be able to create a new community, aka a new sub. So what we need to do, actually let's start with adding a button inside the top community section here that says create community, which when the user is logged in can click to go to that page. So let's go, so here again in the index.tsx, let's scroll down, actually here under this div, or actually under this loop here, this div that contains the loop where we show the top subs. Let's create another div, and let's give it a class of padding 4, and also let's give it border top, actually border -t-2 to synergize with this border bottom 2 that we have here, or actually up here. So tap that, and inside of here, actually I forgot, let's wrap this in an authenticated. Actually we need to get authenticated from the auth state. So here let's destructure authenticated, actually authenticated from use auth state. Make sure to import that hook, and let's go back down, and here let's say if we're authenticated, then we want to return this markup, and it's going to be this div. So let's move it up here. So inside this div, we're going to have a link, and this link will be to, so let's do href, and this will be to /subs/create. And inside of here, let's have an anchor tag, and let's give it width of full, and this will be our blue button, so blue.button, and let's also give it some padding, so px-2 and py-1. Tap that, and inside, let's remove this href. And actually let's bring back the anchor tag, and inside of the anchor tag we're just going to say create community. Community. Save that, and now if we're logged in, we get this community create community button, which if we click, of course it's going to take us to this page that does not exist. Before we make it exist, I would like to invite you to like this video right now and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. I'll really appreciate it. Thanks very much. All right, let's carry on. So let's go ahead and create this page. So this page is under subs, right? Let's create that folder. Let's create a new file, subs/ create.tsx, and here let's do our _rfc and tab that. So let's look at the actual create community on the actual Reddit. So it's got a bunch of things. Of the things we're not going to have, obviously, is the not safe for work tag and these types, which are pretty easy. If you want to make them, you can if you want. Right now, we're just going to have the name, the description, and the title. We also don't have topics, but you can add those for functionality if you want. So let's add those 3 fields, and obviously we need to add this image. Well, I'm just going to use the same image from the login and register page. You can use a different one if you want. The only difference between this and the login page is that we have the navbar as well on this page. So let's go back here. Actually, let's go back to VS Code. I'm going to start by adding the state variables. So here, let's do use state. Actually, I forgot to import it. Let's import up here. Let's say import from React use state. And let me do that snippet again. So use state. And this will be the name, and it will start as an empty string. And the second will be the title. It's going to start as an empty string as well. And another one is the description. and this will start as an empty string as well. And let's do the errors array or object. So this will be errors, and this will start as an empty object. And we can give this a type because it can't infer exactly what it is. I'm going to give it the type of partial of type any. So before we write any functionality, let's put some markup in. So actually, let's get the head component from Next. So do head and import that. And inside of here, we're going to have a title, and this will say create a community. And similar to the login page, I'm going to give the this wrapping div, a class name of flex and bg white. And I'm going to take the same side image from the login page. So let's go there and copy, this div right here that contains that side image, and paste that here. I know we're not using next image, but I found that right now it's really tricky to get next image to work with a dynamic height, which in this case it is, which is the height of the screen. So I'm just going to stick with the normal background image for this div. So on the right of this div, we're going to have another div with a class of flex and flex-call, because we want stuff to go top to bottom. And let's give it justify center. And let's give it padding left of 6 to have some spacing between them. I've already gone ahead and checked the width of the div in the create community page, and it matches the tailwind.w-98. Let's do that, tab that. Let me scroll down. And inside of here, I'm going to put a header one, .mb-2, .text-lg, and .font-medium. And tab that, and this will say as well, create a community. Let's save and let's look at what we have right now. So save that and let's go back, refresh the page. All right, cool. So we get create a community document title, and we get here create a community header, and we get our side image. Nice. Now this is not protected, so if we log out, we can still access it. So what we can do, we can protect it rather from the server side using the same logic that we did on the create post. So we can actually go there and grab that piece of code. So where is it? Actually, it's it's inside the Reddit submit. Yeah. So let's scroll down and get this get server side props call. Copy that, and let's go back to the create, paste that here, and import the get server side props type and also Axios. Save. Now if we refresh here, there we go. We get redirected to the login, and if we do login, we should be able to access it. So I'm going to go to the home page, we go to create community, and there we go. We're back there. Cool. So let's create the rest of the page. So what do we have? We have our this horizontal ruler, and then a label and a subtext, which is gray, and then our input, and then 3 times that the same thing, and then this create community button. So let's add those. So underneath this header one, let's add a horizontal ruler. So HR, tab that. And here we're going to have our form. So form, and it's gonna have an action. It's going to have a on submit. Actually, let's skip this for now. We're going to add it later. So here I'm going to have similar to the input groups that we have on the login page, but these inputs are different. The other ones have a gray background. So we're going to create these from scratch. So here, it's not a lot of code. It's not like we're going to write an entire application. So here, let's do .my-6, because there's 2 pieces of text. I'm just going to have them as paragraphs here. So here I'll say P, and let's give it font medium. And this will be, what is this? The first thing is, name. So let's say name here. And underneath it, we're going to have this subtitle. So what does this say? Let's copy this. So community names, including blah, 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 until that. Copy that. And here, this is smaller and it's gray. So let's do that. So let's give it .text access and give it .text gray 500. Tab that and paste that text. And here we're going to put an input. And so here the input has a background of white, but our page already has that, so we don't need to add that. Has a border gray, and when you click it, it has a border black, which we can leave the default outline black, which will do that. And it has some padding inside. So let's do our input. So what do we have? We have our border, so border, and then border gray. Let's give it 200, and then rounded, and let's give it some padding. So padding -3 and tab that. And this will be of type text indeed. And let's add here the hover because I want it to be similar to, actually no, we're just gonna give it some border gray here. So border gray 500, save this and let's have a look at it. Okay, we have our input, but it's not taking the full width. And also we need some space between this text and the input. So here, let's go in this text and give it margin bottom 2. And then the input, yeah, it's not wide, so let's give it W-full. Save. All right, that looks very close to the Reddit one. Yeah, I think it's good enough. Yeah, that's good. Cool. Let's now just repeat it 3 more times, and we'll have the other ones. So actually, before we repeat it, let's add the other stuff so that it's easier for us. So what do we have? We need to give this input a value. So the value here is name. Oops, name. And an on change, and I'm gonna take an event and we're gonna set name to event.target.value. And actually I forgot we're gonna have potentially an error. So let's say small, and give this a text red 600 and also font medium. Tap that and this will be errors. Oops. Errors.name. And this input right here should also have a red border if there's an error. So actually we need to use class names. So let's go back up and import that. So import class names like that. Put a space there. And here, actually grab all of this and make this an expression and then say class names. And then give that one as the first argument, and then the second argument is going to be conditional. So the second argument is going to have the class border red 600, same as this here, and the condition will be error or errors.name. We're going to be able to test this later when we have the submit function. So copy this entire div with a class of my6 up to here and paste it 2 more times. So the second one will be the title. So replace here title. So we're gonna have this. Actually, let's see. Okay, we don't have title on the actual Reddit one because you can edit the subreddit once you create it. But for us, we're gonna have a title here. And what are we gonna say? So here it says about capitalization stuff. Let's say here community. Let's say community title represents the topic, I think, and you can change it at any time. All right, so we're gonna have the same here, and the value here is gonna be title, and here we're gonna say set title to this value, and here the error is error.title. Scroll down, this will be description, but the description I'll make it a text area in case we want to have a lot of text. Actually here, do we have, yeah, we have a subtitle for description. Let's take that and let's paste that here. And let's scroll down. Let's make this input into a text area. Let's remove the type because text areas don't have a type. And let's also remove the class names call because, you know, in our app we don't have validation for description. So let's just keep this piece of string. Or actually, I'm gonna leave it because it doesn't change anything. And if you decide to do validation for description, it's gonna be there. All right, so here this will be description, and here set description. So save and let's have a look at it. All right, let's go back to our page. Cool, we get name, title, and description. And yeah, that looks good. Maybe, okay, I thought that was strange, but they have it as well, that the these labels are the same size as this header here, but okay, they have it, so it's fine. All right, so let's add this create community button, and also let's add the function or the submit event handler. So under this div, still inside the form, let's add another div with a class of flex and class of justify end. And here we're gonna have a button with a class of blue and button, and let's give it some padding, px4 and padding py-1, and tab that, and here we'll say create community. Save. All right, let's compare the, okay, recently they've been doing this rounded, fully rounded buttons, but I'm gonna stick with the regular Reddit looking button, which is just kind of slightly rounded. Okay, that looks, okay, here for some reason it's not all caps. Can we change that? I think we can use one of the leading classes. Let's go here, classes, add leading. It's one of these. No, actually these are just for, let me see, lowercase, no. Yeah, we can add capitalize and that will change it. I think the text here is bigger as well, so, and also thicker. So let's say, so here inside the button, we're gonna say capitalize, and text large, text LG, and also maybe font medium, save. Okay, that's way too large. I guess text medium. Okay, that's strange. The difference is like huge between medium and large. Am I missing something? Okay, there's base, which is, oh, there is no medium. Interesting. Okay, so SM, small. Okay, that looks very similar, but the font size needs to be slightly bolder. So I guess we're gonna give font semi-bold, save. Okay, it's slightly thicker, but it's very similar now. All right, I'm happy with it. So let's create the onSubmit. So here for the form, let's give it an onSubmit. Let's call this submit form. Let's go up, and here we're gonna say const submit form. It's gonna be an async function that takes an event of type form, form event. Import that, and here it will event.prevent default. And let's do our try catch block. And here, let me scroll down. Let's get actually the response. So say const res equals await axios dot post to /subs. Oops, let me go back here. And the body will be name and title. Oops, what is that? Title and description. So if this creation was successful, we're gonna push to the sub that was just created, which actually just reminds me we need to get the router. So here, let's say const router equals use router, and make sure to get that from next router. And here we'll say router dot push, and we're gonna push to, actually let's do backticks and go to /r/ and then do $ curly brace and res.data.name. But if we do get an error, let's console log it for development, and let's say set errors and set it to error.response.data. Save that. Let's test the errors. So here, let's send this without anything. Cool. Okay, we get the name here because I forgot to change the name of the error to errors.description, which, like I said, doesn't exist yet, but you can implement it if you want. But I don't see what you can validate here because it's nullable, but you know, there's so many different implementations. Okay, let's submit this. All right, we still get a validation error for description. Let me check the actual request. So get back name, title. All right, we don't get an error for description, but for some reason, okay, the same problem here. It's errors.description. My bad. All right, so now third time is the charm. Cool, this does not go red. All right, so get name must not be empty. Let's try to create one that exists, which is React.js, and give it a title of React.js. Run that. Cool, we get sub already exists, but obviously the title can be anything. So let's create the Vue.js. So here, say Vue.js, and we're gonna call this just Vue, and the description will be the Vue developer community. Create it. And there we go. We indeed get redirected to /r/Vue.js, and now this sub is created. Lovely. So I wanted to add another thing before we close off the video, which is right now our app is not responsive whatsoever. So for example, if I go back to the homepage, if I shrink the width of the page, the two divs on the page itself, they go down because of the width classes from Tailwind, but the navbar itself is getting like really shrinking, and it's like stuff is going to the side, and obviously we don't want it to behave like this. So the one on Reddit is what it does is that if we shrink the page, it's gonna get rid of this Reddit text here, and also some of the other elements that we don't have. And also it's gonna get rid of any buttons on the side, I think. Actually, it doesn't do it on this page, but it does it on the home page. So let's do this same behavior. It's pretty easy. So I want to test with the other buttons because it makes it even more difficult. So let's go to navbar. So navbar.tsx. So let's scroll down. So first thing is this piece of text next to the logo, this Reddit. The way Tailwind works is that it's mobile first, meaning that the regular property applies to mobile view, and then the other properties you want to target any screen size and upwards. So here what we want to do, we want to this to have the class of hidden, which will give it display none by default, and otherwise from the large screen, so LG : we're going to give it block, which gives it display of block. So now if we save, now if we go back to our page, or if we shrink this down to the lower than LG, there we go. That Reddit logo or piece of text goes away. And if we go above LG, then we get it back. So let's do that. So what I want to do as well, the input is having this width, but it's fixed, it's not changing. So what I want to do to it is I want to give it the max width of 160, and then once this shrinks down, it's just going to have a maximum of 100% the width that it has between these elements. So let's go back. So scroll down, and actually I want to give it some padding on the right and left. I don't want it to be attached to the elements next to it. And we can't give padding to this div because it's going to go inside. We're going to have padding inside of it. So I'm going to wrap it in a different div. So here I'm going to wrap it with a div that has px-4, and let's take this, where is it? So here up to here, drag it up inside of this .px4, and now this w-160 should belong to the div that wraps it here. And also let's add max w full, which means max width full if it's under this w-160. So let's have a look at this. All right, so now there's some spacing. And also when we go really large, okay, I messed that up. All right, let's see what's happening here. For some reason, it messed with the wrapping div, the one that wraps both of them. Okay, let's see. Okay, so this had justify center, and because this had MX auto right here, it meant that it pushed the other ones to the sides. So we can fix this. So this wrapping div here, so instead of giving, where is it here, justify center, we're going to give justify between, which will put exactly that space between them. Oops, between, save. All right, cool. So now that looks exactly like it did before, except now if we go really small, it's actually going to shrink down and not stay at width 160. And I think we can get rid of this MX auto here. It's not doing anything. So remove that, save. Yeah, it's not doing anything. Cool. So one other thing that happens on the actual Reddit, let me go to the home page. Actually, let me get those two buttons back. So I'm going to log out. So we get these buttons and they're actually larger. And as we go to a smaller screen size, they become smaller. So we can edit those buttons as well. So let's go scroll down. So we have here the login and the register buttons. So they have width 32, but I want to give them width 32 only in large screens. So select here and then press Alt and select here and do LG : otherwise, let's give them W-20. Save that. And actually, let's give the same classes to the logout because that's a very similar button. So here give LG : W-32 and here W-20 by default. So save. And now if we shrink the screen, cool, they grow smaller and they stay there if we go really small. Nice. I don't think we can go, can we go smaller than this? Yeah, we can go smaller than this. So what does Reddit actually do? So if we go really small, actually it just removes those buttons. Interesting. Okay, I guess let's do the same. So this will be, yeah, this will be the small. So let's go back to our app. So these log out and log in and also sign up, select all of them. And then here we'll say, so again, we're going to say hidden by default. And then from small or medium, from medium and up, we're going to say block. Save. All right, so now they're hidden. Actually, not medium. Let's give from small and up. So where are we? yeah, right here. Actually, wait, okay. So select these and then say SM, save. Okay, cool. Very similar now to Reddit. So now on the small screens, we don't get those buttons. You could probably add this and then add those buttons somewhere, because obviously the user has to have an ability to access them. All right, and also so on small screens on Reddit, the sub or the sidebar rather disappears. So actually from medium screens and down. So let's go back. Actually, that would be in the home page or any page that has posts. So go to index.tsx and where are we? So here, so this is the sidebar. Let's say, yeah, and then we have the post feed. So the post feed, let's give it by default width of full. So this will be on small screens. And then from medium screens and up, we're going to give it width of 160. And as to the sidebar, it's by default hidden. And from medium and up, we're going to say it's actually not clock, block. All right, save. And let's look at it. Cool. So now on medium and down or small and down, we just get the posts. Let's give this some padding because it's attached right next to the edges. So here, I should just give it only padding on small screens. So we'll say px2, and from MD and up, we're going to have padding of 0. Save. Okay, maybe let's give it 4. So px4. Cool. Now we get some padding. And if we go to a larger screen size, that padding is gone and we get the sidebar. And if we go down, we see the posts and it's just the posts. All right, so you can do actually the other pages yourself if you want. It's exactly the same. All right, so that's it for this video. Again, please do make sure to like this video and of course subscribe if you haven't and click that bell button. So next time I release another sick clone like this one, maybe even better, you're not gonna miss it. All right, thanks again for watching and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.